What's going on, everybody? I'm Joey Craig here with my co-host Delvin Cox, and you are now listening to the Skyward Cast.
I don't even know how to respond to that. He really played the funk flex bomb drops for our show.
Don't be a hater.
I'm just expecting to hear funk flex get into this whole thing. Only you rappers. I'm coming for you this summer. The man's not that hot, son. I put you guys on.
See, I messed up your flow.
Funk flex.
See, now you don't know where to drop the you don't need to drop your freestyle.
Yes. Oh, but I have it already.
Go
drop it now. Oh, go ahead and say what you're gonna say first.
No, go ahead. See, I'm gonna go back to the other one. You know what? You want me to restart the podcast?
No, we're gonna start. We're gonna do this. Get this out of the way, because this freestyle is important. This year, Halloween fell on the weekend. Me and Ghetto Boys are trick-or-treating, robbing little kids for bags, till the old man got behind our ass. Rest in peace, Bushwick Bill. The Ghetto Boys is a legendary hip-hop group, and we lost Bushwick Bill, I want to say a couple of weeks ago. And I think that song, My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me, is one of those songs that's been played at black barbecues forever. You know, that's a legendary hip-hop song. I want to say he's the first little person rapper that you can think of when you think of rappers and little people. And he was dope. And he will definitely be missed.
Rest in peace.
Definitely. So where you want to start the podcast? You want to start off with the incredible speech from Tyler Perry?
You know what? We can go wherever you want to go, man. I know I know that you had some original plans that you wanted to talk about. You can go ahead. We can touch that.
Well, let's get into the Tyler Perry speech first. Did you hear the speech?
Yeah, I heard it.
Well, for those who don't know, Tyler Perry's speech was basically about black empowerment, and he was saying that, which I think is dope and it's true, that we shouldn't look for validation from others. We can just build it ourselves, and that's something that he kind of built himself on in terms of how, for years, and this has been a running gag for years, where people were mocking Tyler Perry for dressing him as Medea, and they was clowning him and stuff like that. And at the same time, while people was mocking him, he was building an empire. And he told this amazing story about how he basically bought this Confederate military base and made it like his studios now. And he's employing so many African Americans. And I think that's dope, that he is doing what people always say that black people should do in terms of giving back to his community, being successful, giving back to his community, and inspiring others to do the same thing.
I thought the whole speech was really nice. It was extremely inspirational. I mean, despite the fact that, look, there are always going to be critics. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, the end result is cool. He got all this, but what did he have to do to get it? You know what I'm saying? Another black man in a dress. Which is, hey, depending on your views, you might think that's cool. You might think it's not. Either way, it's all opinion based. It was really, really, really inspirational. I mean, especially that part when he was talking about, because he actually went through and followed his dreams, other people's dreams could come true. You know what I'm saying? So he was like saying, there are people that are like, their dreams are tied to your dreams. Don't be afraid to follow through, to basically make things happen, because I mean, you making things happen for yourself is going to open doors for other people. You know what I'm saying? They're waiting for that opportunity, and you going through and making things happen for you is like, you're probably that person, or might be that person to make things happen for them. Anyway, he said it way better than I did, but it was.
Yeah, but you hit it right on the head. And I think that's something that I've kind of always practiced with everything I do in terms of the podcasting and stuff like that. One of the things I've been doing is, especially with the Patreon, not to self-promote myself, but giving other people opportunities And even with the Delvin Cox experience, the show is not really about me. It's about the people I interview. So I'm always uplifting others and giving the spotlight to them, and not necessarily bringing the spotlight on myself. And I think that's important. And I think that's important to bring. I'm bringing myself up at the same time, but I'm uplifting others as well. So when I do become successful, I'm not being successful alone. I look at it like, hey, why not the Delvin Cox experience become a big thing and people love that show? But those people also can love the Skyward cast or Games We Don't Play or PSVG or so many other podcasts I've had on my shows. And I feel like hearing that speech from Tyler Perry was very inspiring. And it also was kind of reaffirming that I'm going on the right path of kind of going down my own trail and making my own destiny for myself with these podcasts. Anyway, the Tyler Perry situation was dope. Do you have anything else to say about it?
Look, there's not too much to say about that other than, really inspirational speech. It was cool. A lot of the stuff he's talking about, what he's doing is, I give him major props for that. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, man. Just major props to him for everything that he's done. You know what I'm saying?
See, we got to get into the smoke now. We got to get into the stuff that we don't want to talk about, the little controversial stuff, because we talked about the happy stuff and we had nothing to say about it. Like, yeah, that was dope.
Look, all I'm saying is you can talk about happy things.
I need angry, focused Joey Craig right now. And I know just the thing that's going to get you angry and focused and ready to berate.
You know what today is?
I don't know what today is. What today is?
National Sunglasses Day.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But guess what? It's not just National Sunglasses Day. It's National Pineapple Day.
Oh, God. Jesus, stop, please. My God. This millennial stuff. Every day has to be a national something day.
Exactly.
This irks me so much.
Now, before I was down for this. I was completely down for this. I actually participated in National Pizza Day a couple years ago. Now I thought, hey, this is just a little cool thing. Sure, it's all based around consumerism. It's a little trap to make you feel like you're participating in some nationwide holidays. So you go out and spend money on bullcrap that you don't need. But it's happening every single day. Every single day you go on Twitter, you see National Sunglasses, National Pineapple, National Oranges, National Pork Day. It's something. Dairy. I think there was a National Cheese Day. What was it? There's
National Cheese Day. A thing. Yes, that is a thing.
Which, look, you're honestly better off with no cheese. Just get the dairy out of your life. It's toxic. But
oh my God.
Listen, at this point, it's like, are you guys still really biting? Like, are people really like, oh my God, let's celebrate this.
Yes, they are.
Day. Let's go. Hey, let's go to the store so we can participate in National Chocolate Day. Cheese Day. Let's go buy a whole bunch.
Because everything has become about social media. Our lives revolve around social media and what we do on social media. Almost to the point where people make their social media lives more important than their regular lives in terms of how, I got to take this picture for the gram. I had to take, it's National Pizza Day. Let me go get a pizza and set it up, make it look all nice for National Pizza Day, or this and that. And, people can't just enjoy the moment anymore. Sometimes, like I say, one thing, every day doesn't need to be a holiday. Because if every day is a holiday, then it's not really special.
Exactly. That's why none of this trash is like, I'm sitting there like, y'all are really falling for this trash. Again, like yesterday, and you know what got me was there was a National something day. I don't remember what it was, but it happened twice in the same year. I don't know if somebody messed up and forgot that they already pulled that bull crap 2 months back, but they did it again. And people it was like, it just escaped everyone's minds. It was the craziest trash. Oh man, like the stupidity is mind blowing in this world today. People get so, it's like they're super aware of all the wrong things, but when they're getting played by major corporations, they just don't know.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because we can get into the topic I want to bring up to you now. How stupid people are and how mistakes that are made can influence people whether we like it or not. So, as you may know, Joey Craig, the U.S. is in a trade war with China.
Mm-hmm.
And this trade war, what basically happens where they're doing trade tariffs on China and China's doing trade tariffs on us. And you know who it's going to finally affect now? Gamers. Because most of our video game consoles come from China.
Oh, like parts?
Yep. And the systems in general, too. Oh. So let me just read you what happened. Because this is what's going on right now. Earlier last week, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft all petitioned the U.S. government to reconsider their stance on tariffs placed on goods imported from China to the U.S. This is from IGN.com.
Mm-hmm.
The trio of video game and console developers issued a statement responding to the U.S. representation request for public comment regarding the implementation of these tariffs, saying we respectfully request that the administration remove blah, 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 subheading, blah, blah, blah. That's just stuff. I don't want to read that part. Covering video game consoles from the final list of tariffs, thus framing from applying tariffs on these products. The tariffs being proposed by Trump's administration as part of a wider economic standoff between the U.S. and China would include a 25% increase on video game consoles, controllers, arcade machines, and even board games. Now that's the part I wanted you to hear.
Now, why is he doing this again? Like, what's
because he's in a trade war with China.
Why is he doing this?
Because he's Donald Trump and he's an idiot.
But there's just absolutely no point behind any of it. It's just that he's a moron.
Essentially, because it was something. Let me look it up to give you exact. I don't want to give you the exact facts with it, but basically, the U.S. and China got into a tiff about tariffs and things like that. And Trump basically said, okay, since you're going to charge us this much for things and we're getting all this stuff from you, we're just going to get money back out of you from overtaxing you guys. So China responded back, okay, we're going to overtax you guys. So it's now kind of like a war of attrition. So now, let me look up the trade tariffs right now. I don't want to put this podcast on a standstill, but let me try to look at this up right now.
It's cool. I can cut it later.
Okay. Basically, Trump, like he's doing this not only with China, he's doing it with Mexico now and other countries as well to basically get his way. Like he's doing it with Mexico specifically because he wants Mexico to secure the borders and things like that. So he's adding tariffs and stuff like that, trying to basically put him out of business. And he's doing it with China. And the thing about him doing it with China is it's infecting all of our tech. Because here goes something I'm reading off of another article, The Verge. For 40 years, U.S. tech companies have been sending designs to China for manufacturing drones, microchips, phones, computers, and nearly anything with a complex internal circuitry passed through a Chinese port at some stage of the process. But now it's less about cheap labor than the influence of dozens of component manufacturers, chip foundries, and assemblers all competing with each other for the biggest contracts and the most demanding jobs. We think of the iPhone era as the product of Cupertino. I don't know what that means. But it's just as much a product of these parts of China. So basically what they're saying is that people in China are battling for, before the trade tariffs, they were battling for the rights to make products for Apple and things like that and other companies because that was big contracts.
Uh-huh.
But now this is also part of the article. Now that the trade route is coming apart, since taking office, President Trump has staged an escalating war with China, citing decades of anti-competitive behavior. In May, that fight reached the breaking point, with a new proposal laying out a 25% import tax on nearly all consumer goods imported from China. When reached for a comment, neither the White House or the U.S. Trade Commission was able to shed light on the proposal when the proposal might go into effect. But with the last of public hearings finishing today, these tariffs could legally be put in place as soon as next week. Now, this affects us because the tariffs we're essentially going to have to pay for. So here goes a perfect example. They have the cost of an iPhone tariff.
Mm-hmm.
The iPhone is made in China. And as long as the final order still includes the import code for cell phones, it's likely to get hit with the tariffs. But it's much harder to say exactly how much Apple will actually be paying. In broad strokes, the tariffs are authorized up to 25% and have access against the cost of insurance and freight given the value of the shipment. For example, if you bought an iPhone X at retail, that would simply be the retail price plus shipping. But for Apple's own shipments, it's more of a secret number reflecting the internal cost to produce the device. The exact number is hard to pin down. But given the internal components of the phone cost, an estimated $370, that's what they say the iPhone X cost to make. And the significant cost of assembly, it's unlikely less to be than $400, which puts the total tariff bill for each iPhone at more than $100. So basically, what these tariffs do is, because the companies will have to pay more to get the product, they're not going to eat that cost. They're going to pass that cost on to consumers. So, and this is important because next year, new consoles are launching. So if, let's say, Sony originally had the idea of launching a PS4 at $499, because of these trade tariffs, it might be $550 or $600 because they have to bring up the cost.
Yeah, there's just no way they could do that. It just
yes.
No, I mean, I understand that the companies, like you said, they're not going to eat the cost, but I mean, in some cases, I mean, they might just have to, because
yes, that's the problem.
You bumping it up by $100 is just not going to work. Like, you can try to explain the situation to the consumer, but they're still going to be like, okay, you're charging me so much to the point where you're starting to get into decent gaming PC territory with these prices. You know what I'm saying? So,
but that's the big problem, because it's not only going to be affecting Sony, it's going to affect Microsoft as well. So they're going to also have to raise their price for the console too. And like the Switch, for example, when they manufacture new Switches, the price is going to go up. I'm not even talking about a new console in general, but any console that comes out of China that they have to remake, they have to make more of, they're gonna have to make it at a higher cost to them because of these tariffs, and that's not a sustainable thing for video game companies and iPhone companies, for that matter. Any type of tech company is going to kill them.
Well, I mean, I don't really know what to say about that. I mean, what will they do? I mean, are they going to push back the launches? I mean, I wonder if they would do that. You think they would actually push back the launch of the console to avoid having to eat that cost? I mean,
that's the problem.
But then you can't have a whole bunch of products sitting there. So
not only that, but
manufacturing,
even if they push back the console, the tariff's going to still be there. This is something like they would have to wait. They would have to push it back till Trump gets out of office, or until he says we're not going to do the tariffs anymore.
No. You see, these companies, they got their hands in government actions. You know what I'm saying? So if they were to push it back, it would be to see if they can use their influence and whatever kind of power they have behind the scenes to sort of influence things to go their way, or maybe if he could somehow create some exception for them. You know what I'm saying? But Yeah.
Well, I think
I'm
that's
curious.
what this letter was about. They sent a letter to, hey, don't do this. Basically saying, hey, stop. I think this is their way of saying you can't do this.
I don't know. I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. I mean, the only way that it's really going to look, if it happens, just expect to see a whole bunch of product launches have lower than normal sales, and tech in general is just going to take a big flop. Anything that comes from China, if it's being super taxed or whatever, and yeah, the consumer is not going to eat that. Consumers, like the average person in America, is already struggling. They're trying to find their way to be able to afford the things they like as things are right now. Ain't nobody trying to be paying $100 more or something like that. So, I mean, hey, whatever.
But this is the interesting thing about it. This is one of those situations that it affects upper class people. Like console makers aren't exactly poor. You know, they're millionaires in many cases. So he's kind of messing up their money. So I wonder how this would affect, because election year is right around the corner. Lord knows everybody in their mama's wanting to be president now. So will this be something that will affect his presidency? Like, will people who normally, because a lot of people who had money voted for Trump because they wanted the tax breaks. Now that he's coming around and doing these tariffs, it's affecting a lot of businesses. So will this turn around and bite him in the ass in the end, where these people who probably would have voted for him was like, nah, we're not voting for you this time.
Yeah, but
we get this stuff out of here.
As far as votes, like they're a pretty small amount of people. You know what I'm saying? They're a very tiny minority. So
upper class?
All those people that would actually be affected by this stuff, the people that own these companies, the people, it's not like you're talking about the workers. What's that going to
them too? It depends on where you at in the company, because it's not only the billionaires that's going to affect. It's going to affect the workers, because it's a trickle down effect in terms of how, okay, like you said earlier, consoles are going to cost more. Less people are going to buy consoles, which is going to probably end up people getting laid off.
Possibility.
You know, then you got the people who are working in these companies with these chip manufacturers and these developers are not going to be able to get jobs and stuff like that, because it's gonna hurt the video game companies. It's going to hurt the manufacturers, the people who make these things, and it's a trickle down effect. So yeah, the billionaires are getting hurt, but in the long run, it's going to be the people who are middle and lower class who are getting these jobs who are also going to be affected by this.
Possibility. I don't know. I don't really see it getting that out of hand. You know what I'm saying? He's yeah, I just don't see them actually allowing him to let this happen. Especially, I mean, I'm sure he has friends that this would negatively affect, and they're probably all in his ear right now. And
his brother works for a video game company. I think he's a CEO of one or something like that.
So I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see. But as far as right now and how it affects the consumer, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. Hopefully, it doesn't result in anybody getting laid off. I mean, I think that would only be effective like if this actually lasted long enough for it to actually have that sort of effect where you saw that sort of kickback. And I seriously don't see it. He's probably doing this to get them to back down. And honestly, they'd probably give in. They probably give in before him, especially since that all these refreshes are about to happen. Xbox is about to come out, new Nintendo Switches, PlayStation 4, new phones coming out all the time. They need to get those products out of there. So you know what? They might just say, yeah, we're gonna try to push back and not just give in, but to mess up all of that money that they could possibly make by trying to play this game with him. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna last. This game of chicken, yeah, they're probably gonna lose. But I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, okay, I got it. His brother, Robert Trump, is on the board for Bethesda. So there you go.
Yeah, Bethesda, what are they like? They're a developer. The developers are
a
there.
video game company, a big video game company. I think
Yeah.
this will very much affect developers as well. If he's on the board and they're like, hey,
I hear you, but that's software. You know what I'm saying? Like, and hardware and physical sales are going down, so it's not gonna really affect them too much.
Yeah, but if people can't get the hardware, they're not going to buy the software.
Yeah, but I mean, just based on what, honestly, if you look at how consoles are going, and how they're talking about how the next generation is going to be, how it's not going to actually be like a classic next generation. So basically, just like with Xbox Scarlet, they're saying that I guess your old games would be able to be played on your old games would be able to be played on new hardware, and even the current hardware is going to be supported for a while. So I think it's going to be they're trying to push it into the next phase, so things kind of work like PC. So you know, it's not like, okay, the next generation comes out, you got to toss it and go get another one. It's like, as long as this works, it's as long as you are a part of the Xbox family of devices, then you're good. You know what I'm saying? So you'll be able to run that on the software as long as they allow. I mean, but that kind of happens for all console generations. The last generation is still supported for a while. So I mean, as far as Bethesda, you know, they're still gonna get those sales. People will just decide, you know what, if it's too expensive, I'm gonna keep my last generation or current generation hardware, and I'll just play it on there. So they'll still be good. But but when it comes to the hardware manufacturers, yeah, they're the people that would possibly suffer the most.
Yes.
Anyway, what else you got?
I don't know, because I'm trying to not get topics that's going to get you depressed or anything like that.
Go ahead, man. The whole world is depressing. I guess you can't really avoid it.
Trying to think of a good one. Let me think of one that's interesting.
Look. I mean, I do. I guess, you know, it would be. I don't know. I don't want to be too much of a bummer. We already talked about someone passing, but you know, Etika did pass away. So
yeah, rest in peace to that young brother. His story is fascinating because it's one of the situations where we clearly saw the signs. Because I don't know if you remember this, but there was a situation a while back where police had to bust in his house because he was trying to kill us. He was live streaming it.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't too long ago. It was a big deal then. And it died down. After a while, it died down, and people kind of forgot about it. And then I think they were saying that as of some weeks ago, people was trying to contact him, couldn't contact him, and he left like a goodbye message on his YouTube, and YouTube took it down.
Yeah, that was just they took that down, I guess, from his channel after it was. What did they take it down before he was actually passed, or you know? But the thing about his situation, I saw a lot of people responding to this. It's like, okay, we're not paying attention enough to people's I don't know, mental health, and we could have avoided this. But the thing is he's done so many things. It was kind of the boy that cried wolf situation, where it's like, okay, well, how do we know if he's really serious this time? And you have a lot of people who do crazy things, put it on YouTube, they stream it because they know that that's going to bring them attention. So you can't really tell who's being real and who's being fake. I mean, unfortunately, it was kind of a mix. I mean, he obviously had problems, but he was also doing it because the attention that it brought. I mean, even in his goodbye video, he said, I originally wasn't suicidal. when I said I was never actually going to kill myself, but it was because of all the trouble that he got into because of all his, kind of wild antics over the time. It just, he felt that he basically pushed everyone away. And so he kind of got himself into a pit that he felt that he couldn't get out of. And so he just decided to end it. So it's a super complicated situation. I mean, regardless of all that, I definitely wish, I wish him the best on the other side. I say that versus rest in peace. My belief, I don't really believe anyone rests. I mean, your body does, but as far as you moving on, I believe you move on into a spirit form. And I don't know what's after that. So all I can do is, send you prayers and best wishes.
Yeah. It's always sad to see such a young guy in his life like that, especially a young black guy. It's suicide and mental health is a real thing that people kind of neglect. And even if people knew what he was going through, you'd have to have somebody who was actually there, like his family and friends, to like help him through that. And it's a touchy, hard thing to deal with because it's heartbreaking to see this. Whether you like the kid or not, it's shocking. It's sad. And yeah, it's 1,001. We've seen 1,001 signs. It could have been a cry for help. Well, obviously it probably was a cry for help, but what can you really do? Like the best thing you can really do is just talk to somebody and hope for the best. I've had situations where people was depressed and I've had conversations with them and they told me it helped them, but unfortunately you can't have that conversation with everybody. You can't save everybody. Lord knows I've tried.
No, you definitely can't. It's more frustrating. I don't know. I mean, I know I don't want to come off as heartless or anything like that. But when I watched the video, man, and I listened to what he was saying, and it was so frustrating that, man, like I wish he could have been caught. You know what I'm saying? Like right away, and because he seems so aware of his situation. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, when they get to that point, some people have not everyone. Some people, they get into, situations where they feel like they can't get out of it. They don't realize exactly what's going on, how they got there, and what it would take to fix it. It's listening to him. It was like, I don't know. I don't dig into that and give a whole breakdown of what I thought, he meant. And anyway, regardless, just,
I'm putting this out there. If anybody out there who listens to this podcast has suicidal thoughts, feel depressed, feel like it's not worth it, get help, whether it's calling the suicide prevention hotline or just contacting somebody Contact me. I will gladly answer DMs, conversate with you. Want to call? You want my phone number to talk to me? I'll gladly give you my phone number in a DM to call me, and we can have these conversations so you can know that you matter and you're important. And suicide is not worth it. Like, I am very aware of what goes on in the mind of a person who's going through depression and doesn't understand their worth at the time. But I can also tell you that if you hold strong, you can get through it. You just have to hold strong and have people that you can talk to and trust and help you get through the darkness. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. If anybody out there is having problems and feel like they need somebody to talk to, my DMs are always open. I would gladly talk to you.
So, I don't know.
I think this is a good place to end this.
It's not. It's a horrible place to end this.
Sometimes you don't have a happy ending. Like,
you know what?
You can't.
That I realize you don't always have a happy ending, but you know what? We end this podcast on a sour note a lot of times, and I think we can have one more.
Okay, you got something that's positive then.
What
If you got something that's positive, I'm all in on the positivity.
what do we have?
We can talk about Greg Miller getting banned from E3 for a year and then getting it back.
Who the heck is Greg Miller?
See, that alone just answers that question. Can't talk about that. You don't know who Greg Miller is.
Greg Miller.
From IGN. He's like one of the co-founders of Kind of Funny now.
Oh yeah, guy with the glasses. Okay.
Yes.
Why was he banned?
Well, it's not a story anymore now because they've fixed the problem. But basically, somebody had used his E3 pass to like sneak into certain parts of E3. But he had his pass on the whole time. But they didn't know that obviously. They banned him from E3 for a year because they thought that he gave his E3 pass to somebody else.
Did they actually investigate before they did this, or was this
No,
like
they
thing?
No, they just basically just said, "Hey, we're banning you from E3 because you gave your pass to somebody else." Then he bitched the fit on Twitter about it. People reacted. They responded to him. They found out that he actually didn't do it because somebody basically copied his pass, made a fake pass, and used it. So they reinstated him back for E3.
That's cool. That's cool, I guess. A happy ending for him after some complaining. When situations like that, when you see people, you see companies or corporations or whatever respond in that way, like I wonder if they actually did an investigation and found out that that he actually didn't give it, or they just saw the public's reaction to it, and to avoid backlash and a possible drop in ticket sales or something like that. Because it can go from just people being upset to boycott E3 really quick. So I wonder if they were just like, to avoid that possibility, let's just give it back to him. Like the show is already flopping, you know what I'm saying? Like people, it wouldn't really matter too much.
Yeah, that was kind of my remark about like you're banning a big personality from E3 when you already have an E3 that's kind of failing. It's not failing, but the decline on E3 is real. Every year E3 is kind of getting like, okay. It's nowhere near to the level it used to be at. And the fact that and it was even more evident the fact that Sony wasn't there this year and Microsoft was there and people wasn't really wowed by everything that happened at E3. And they set the crowd from a lot smaller than it's ever been in. Like it's weird that they're banning people from E3. Even though if he did do what he did, I understand why they would ban somebody because it's a security risk.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody can take because he has a press pass, so that means he can go to places that normal people can go, and he could probably, not to say that he would do this or anything like that, say anybody would do this, but somebody could theoretically take that press pass, go meet up with some press and hurt somebody. Go to like a Bethesda booth or something like that and hurt somebody. And they didn't, you come to find out they wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, I mean, all those things are definitely definitely possibilities. I mean, I would think that the worst and most likely thing to happen would probably be that clips of gameplay that, behind the scenes footage of gameplay that people weren't supposed to see, that the public might not see for like a year or more, might get leaked out, which is definitely,
that happened last year.
Yeah, and if it gets leaked out because of negligence, because of like E3 passes getting in the wrong hands, I wonder if the company, the developer or publisher, would actually sue the what's the name of the group behind E3? Do you remember that?
ESA.
Yeah, I wonder if they would actually sue them, because it was like you were responsible for security and you allowed our product, which we invested millions and millions of dollars into, to get leaked out, and so you ruined our reveal that we're probably going to have, and so yeah, we're going to sue you. So I mean, I could understand that. Who wants to be responsible for that?
Well, that something like that happened last year. They ain't suing it like that, but if I remember correctly, I think it was with Anthem. Somebody had was recording gameplay of Anthem, there was in the press room. It was recorded like behind the scenes footage of Anthem and stuff that wasn't supposed to be recorded, and they had their they uploaded it to the internet,
Mm-hmm.
and it became a big deal. But that's one of those things. Like at that point, what can you do?
Yeah, that mess. I don't know. Every time I think about Anthem, man, it's just like, ugh, such a disappointment. It could have been something awesome, and then it just turned out to be a flop. And you know, I never understood like why would you make Anthem instead of just making a co-op Destiny style Mass Effect where you got a team full of people that are on the ship. So instead of having all these different people, I mean, you find out a way for multiple people to be able to have roles on the ship. You can actually still develop relationships the same way like they said Anthem was gonna be when you go back to the was it Fort Tarsis?
Original press release.
Hmm?
The original press release where they were saying it was going to be kind of like Mass Effect.
Yeah, which
was a bunch of baloney.
Hot freaking BS. They should be. I think when you actually release footage of games and they don't turn out to be anything like the actual game that comes out, I think you should be sued for false advertisement.
That actually happened.
I think it should happen way more.
That actually happened. I don't think it ever went through, but I think that happened with Watch Dogs. Because if you remember how polished the original trailer for Watch Dogs looked, the original game, and when the game came out, it didn't look nothing like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people had a fit, and I think they tried to sue
them. I understand that. I know the gameplay is still really similar to what what we were shown at first. We were shown, but that graphical downgrade, man, that was something crazy. It's completely unacceptable. And because of that, whenever I see trailers, I just can't get hyped anymore. I can't get hyped because I know that this can change, or it can be an Anthem situation where it is just a slice of something that will never ever be in game. So you can't trust these fools anymore. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I mean, that's just why I'm critical of a whole bunch of things in the gaming industry. You can't trust. Only people you can actually trust when you see a trailer is Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? They might do a whole bunch of trash wrong, but gameplay usually always ends up exactly how they present it to you.
Yeah, that's true.
But everyone else, I mean, every time you usually see a PlayStation exclusive, that comes out as it was. But the point is,
true.
Yeah, PlayStation and Xbox too. I can't really think of an Xbox. So for the most part, the big three, when they present something, if it's kind of like a in-house game, it usually comes out exactly as it was presented to us at the review.
There's a couple of exceptions.
Like what?
Halo 5 comes to mind. I think it was Halo 5. The one where it came out, they had this whole big trailer for it looking one way, and they was talking about how they made it look like you were going to be playing most of the game with Master Chief, and then it really wasn't that. It was with Locke.
Yeah, that's deceptive. I mean, in a way, but I think
it was very deceptive because they made it look like it was going to be Master Chief versus Locke, and this big thing where you playing as Master Chief or Locke, and it wasn't that at all. Like, I think you play as Master Chief for maybe 3 missions.
But it's kind of like, you know how you saw Infinity War and you saw the trailer and they showed the Hulk running with all the heroes when they were doing that battle in Wakanda, but then it turns out that he wasn't actually there. Spoilers.
Yeah, that was there to fake. A lot of movies do that.
And that's just straight false advertisement.
Yes, it is.
So, but of course they get away with it because it's like people were so hyped about the movie. Now, me personally, I thought the movie was kind of mediocre. I mean, some people were
You're
probably,
wrong, but it's okay.
oh my god, to hear me say that. But yes, Infinity War was pretty mediocre. The power fluctuations were so ridiculous. That was the dumbest trash in the world. Like
You're not getting this.
two movies.
You're not getting
Movies
this.
before that. Was it Vision was supposed to be something like a god. She's supposed to be more powerful than almost the entire group. Everyone feared him, and then
Vision's a chump.
He got whooped. Scarlet Witch, her powers fluctuate like something crazy. At one moment, she's holding back. She's destroying an Infinity Stone in one hand. All this is full of spoilers. So if you don't want this run. So, she's destroying an Infinity Stone in one hand and holding back Thanos with 5 out of the 6 stones in the other. She's like one of the biggest beasts in the entire MCU. But then on the next scene, she's getting slapped around by some really mediocre, like secondary villain.
Hold on, that wasn't the next scene.
No,
that scene. No, fam. I'm not gonna let you get away with that. That scene where she's fighting Thanos.
Scenes are out of order. Okay, point is,
it's a big difference. That is a big difference. A huge difference because
honestly, you're proving my point. The scene,
no, it's not
getting whooped
because
what happened before she actually was holding back Thanos.
No, now, I'm not letting you rock with that one because it's a big difference. Big difference. Because one scene she's fighting against, I think her name is Proxima Midnight, and a whole bunch of people, and she does some badass things in that scene that you just completely brush over, including take one of those big ass claw machines and throws it at a whole bunch of those creatures and destroys them, just wrecks them.
So you're not disagreeing with me?
No, the thing is that all movies do that, where they have moments where you have this badass character and they kind of fight to their level. And I think the Thanos thing makes sense because she's at her height of anger and she's trying to literally stop the love of her life from being destroyed by this creature that seems unstoppable. So she's almost at the height of her power, just using all her power that she probably didn't even know she had to stop him, and it still doesn't work.
But he was already in danger. Where was all this?
Not to that point.
What do you mean?
Not to the point. Because if you look at that scene, because I watched Infinity War 1,000 times now, that scene was
enough.
That scene was literally this. Thanos comes in with all the stones except like the last one that's in Vision's head. He immediately takes out all of the Avengers that are there like it's nothing. Like they're flies. And she's watching this happen. Like, fuck, we can't stop him. And she knows that Thanos is going to come and probably easily kill her and easily kill Vision. So she's using all her might to hold him back so she can basically save the world. So that's what she's thinking in her head. So she's fighting as hard as she can, and she succeeds. And Thanos like, oh shit, she's actually kind of strong. And he kind of looks at her like, that's impressive. But unfortunately for you, I have the time stone, and I can just rewind time and get this stone back and kill him anyway. That was a great scene. And then the scene after that was also great because it played a big part into Endgame, where he gets the final stone. He basically wins. So he thinks, and then Thor comes down with the hammer and just hits him right in the chest. And you're like, oh shit, Thor done saved the day.
And then everybody kind of trash. That
scene was awesome.
I'm
gonna tell you why that scene was awesome. Because I saw that movie opening night. And when Thor came down with the hammer and hit him in the chest, everybody cheered because they thought that was the end of the movie.
So you're using nostalgia.
No, it wasn't. No, it's not even that because it was so well done. that scene was well done because he came down with the hammer, hit Thanos in the chest, and with most Marvel movies, that's it.
But you already
That's
knew
game over.
how that was gonna go.
Well, I kind of did because I've read the comic books, but most people who didn't know how that was going to go thought, "Oh, this is it. How they going to do part two?" He just stabbed Thanos in the chest because Thanos was literally dying, and then Thanos says, "You should have aimed for the head," and snaps his finger, and they're like, what happened?
I don't know. I just the way the movie played out. I don't. It's hard to kind of break down all of my complaints just on when I'm thinking about, okay, this is a podcast. I'm going to have to edit this later. Now, I understand that this is it wasn't a terrible movie. I just think that things could have gone down a little bit better. I don't even like the fact that Thor almost defeated him. I don't like it. Like, that's so he can almost get beat by Thor, but he can't be overpowered by multiple people in the Avengers. When, I mean, if you really kind of,
Thor's strong. Thor's technically the strongest Avenger, and he's a god. So Thanos shouldn't be able to. A god should be able to go hands to hands with Thanos. That makes sense.
but I don't know. I guess, we'll let that go.
That's this is definitely a conversation for another day.
Wait, how did Thor all of a sudden become so much more powerful than Vision?
He always was more powerful than Vision. His hammer gave Vision power.
Yes, he kind of supercharged him, but then, okay, he has a freaking Infinity Stone in his head.
That doesn't mean anything. Infinity Stones are strong and powerful, but they're not the end-all be-all unless you have all of them together. Like Doctor Strange has an Infinity Stone, but he can still be beaten.
And Doctor Strange, that whole crap, that mess irritated me also.
Why did that? Oh, we're not getting that. That's gonna be that's a whole other podcast.
Oh,
we can talk about Endgame and Infinity War all day because Endgame to me is the one that had its problems. I know you feel that way about Infinity War, but Endgame is the one that had its problems. The fact that Endgame's whole premise, the whole movie could not have happened if it wasn't for a rat is a little ridiculous to me.
Rat?
Yes.
What rat?
See, that's how insignificant that scene was. When Hank Pym, Hank Pym. No, is it Hank Pym? Paul Rudd's character, only why he came back, it was because a rat walked over the console and brought him back from the what it's called.
Oh, well, see, that is it's things like that. It's things like that irritated me about Infinity War, because if small things, if that didn't happen, then the whole story wouldn't have progressed. Just like, okay, Thanos wouldn't have gotten away. He wouldn't have survived if Thor didn't decide to not slash him in the head.
But that makes sense though, because the best thing about that part, because I love that part, because the fact of the matter is, Endgame played on that part perfectly.
That was such
perfectly
a part though.
Huh?
That was such a small part though.
It was a huge part in the whole character development in Thor and Endgame. Well, since we're getting spoilers for Endgame, Thor, the whole character development of Thor was based off of the fact that he failed in Infinity War. Everything that Thor did in Endgame was based off the fact that no matter what he did, he failed and he could not fix what he did at all. It was all on him because he had the chance to stop Thanos, and because of his ego, he didn't. And everything happened. Earth went to crap. And that's why, spoilers for Endgame, he essentially became Fat Thor, because when they found Thanos, who was already weakened because he destroyed the stones, he took off his head, but it didn't mean anything. It was worthless wind. Because, you took off a head of a Thanos who's weakened because he destroyed the stones, and killing him is literally doing nothing. It's not solving your problem.
Yeah. I don't know. Both of the movies are just, honestly, the only thing that really makes them cool is that you finally get to see so many heroes that you wanted to see on live action. You get to see them all on screen at the same time and have this battle. But when you break it down, there's so many flaws with these movies.
I agree with that. I think I've said it before. I think Endgame and Infinity War are good movies. They're not the best movies, but they are the most satisfying in terms of how you get endings for certain characters. But I wouldn't call them the best Marvel movies, but not even close, probably. If I were to rank them in the top 10, I'd probably put them 6th or 7th.
I'd probably give Infinity War a good C minus. It wasn't horrible. It was pretty bad in some parts. Like, oh man, like that part. So many people had really cheap deaths, man. Like, oh my god. That what was this dude's name? What was his like
Heimdall?
The Maw character.
Ebony Maw.
Ebony Maw. He had one of the hardest scenes in the beginning. He seemed like he was just gonna be a monster all throughout the movie. Now I don't know if it was because they felt like, okay, we just don't have enough. We don't have enough not enough screen time. We just don't have enough of run time to fit him all throughout the movie. So we're just gonna give you a quick, cheap rocket kick out into friggin' space to kill you off. That was
I will say this
disappointing trash I ever seen. And that's what I think. That was one more part. Cheap things have to happen to progress the story forward.
In retrospect, I think the Children of Thanos should have showed up in earlier movies. That's my opinion. I think you have a good point with that. I think it'd have been a lot more doper if you would have seen Ebony Maw in a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and you see him kick ass in that movie. Then you see him in Infinity War, and you know, okay, this guy kicks ass. Then you kill him off the way you want to kill him off. But I think that was kind of a waste of a character. Even in Endgame, when he came back in Endgame, they didn't really show him that much because it wasn't about his character. Or Proxima Midnight.
Technically, he had to be there, but like I don't even remember seeing him.
Yeah, that's my point, because it wasn't about them. It was about seeing the full might of all the Avengers kicking ass together.
And then you know what irritated me also? When they brought them back, when they brought them through that dang what did they jump through? Like when Thanos
Strange portals.
Yeah, that what?
Those were all Doctor Strange portals. He brought them there.
No, not them. I'm talking about when Thanos, his whole ship came back. Or like, how did they get through? They use like the PEM particles or something like that to jump through something. Yeah. How did that work? Near the end of
the final battle, right?
Yeah, they were trying to use the that was around the scene, the Hulk. This whole conversation is full of spoilers, man. See, now I got to slap spoilers on front of the podcast. So
you did it.
I was talking about. I made sure to talk about minor spoilers.
You didn't talk about minor spoilers for Infinity War. You talked about major spoilers for Infinity War.
What did I say that was so major? I know I was talking
everything.
I was talking about real. I'm talking about power fluctuations and trash, not the ending. I kind of piggybacked off of what you were talking about. So it's your fault.
No, it's not my fault. But...
Anyway, man, we should just one day just sit down and have an Avengers talk. And just have the whole group. I mean, no, we did actually have an Avengers talk. When does that episode come out of Fight Brigade?
I think that's already out, isn't it?
Is it? Wasn't that like?
I think it is. When episode 2, I think. Episode 3 comes out in a couple of weeks. Okay. I don't know. I think you're breaking up now, Joey.
Am I?
Yeah, I can hear a single word you said.
All right, man. It's a mess right now, and I'm just gonna have to edit all of this trash. Oh man, it's gonna be like an hour, 30 minutes. It's cool, but yeah, I mean, it was a decent.
Yeah, because you said your words that we can't end the show on a sad note, and then you just start berating Avengers and getting me upset.
Look, you go from we had some mildly happy topics first we started out with a rest in peace, and then you start talking about, Etika, which is a very depressing topic, which could have gone many ways. You know what I'm saying? Especially because I don't know, I would have liked to go more in depth about the whole situation and kind of talk about, but then it would have basically turned into a conversation not just about Etika, but about suicide and,
Yeah,
and
we're not
the
doing
reasoning
that.
behind
You said before we started, you said you didn't want to get too depressed.
I
You
didn't
didn't
want
want to talk about
I didn't want to
too
talk
much sad stuff.
I didn't want to talk
And then
about that, but once you start talking about it, why not pretty much go all the way? But I avoided going all the way to avoid
It's your fault.
this whole thing and saying something that was probably controversial about. I mean, not to say that, it's not like I'd say anything ridiculous like
Yes, you would.
someone is that commits suicide is like a coward or something like that. And
No,
say stuff
no, don't say that.
ridiculous. I would never say something like that. That's foolish. You don't understand, what that particular person is going through. Now, if they did something evil and then they use suicide as a way to avoid consequences, then that's pretty coward-like. But but the actual act of suicide it's not being a coward.
No, I wouldn't think so. I definitely wouldn't think so. I don't have the guts to kill myself, even though I wouldn't call that something to be have guts for, but I don't think I can do it. That's I don't think I can. I don't know, man. It's just something that it's hard to grasp.
My whole thing
we're not getting to this conversation. No, we're not doing this.
No. Now let me say it.
No. This podcast is ending now. Thank you for coming to listen.
I wonder. You don't know what's on the other side of it. So how do you know that what you're getting away from is going to be better? I mean, you don't know if it's. I mean, I hope, right, that when everything is gone, you go somewhere, you elevate to a different level, and you meet your loved ones and all that. But you don't know. You don't know what's over there, or you don't. Or how do you know it's not like the Christian Bible says and suicide doesn't result in very good things? I mean, nothing is 100%. Now, I have my beliefs, but those are beliefs with no 100% concrete evidence. And so there's always a chance you could be wrong. So you never really know. And so is the possibility of that better than whatever you're going through here? Now, I mean, there's some people, like there was a woman, not a woman, or she might have been, I think she might have been like 16 or something. So young woman. I think she had cancer, and she wanted to end it because she knew she was going to die. Well, based on what they told her. And she said, rather than sit here and suffer, I'd rather live a little bit and then make the choice to end it. In that case, I mean, that's a little more understandable. Like, who wants to suffer and then wither away when you can just, I guess, end it on a better note? It's not a good note, but it's better than the other option.
Thank you, Joy, for bringing down the podcast back again after I brought it down originally. Yeah, why did you bring that up?
Life is full of. Life is full
you
of.
Told me to let's not end on a sad note, and you bring it right back to a sad note.
The reason why I didn't want to get started is because these are things I think about off the podcast. I didn't really want to. It's like, well, fine. If we're gonna do a podcast, let's talk about something happy. I don't want to just talk about this or think about this stuff more. Okay, but if you're gonna start talking about it, might as well go all the way.
Rule number 1: next time I say let's just have a depressing episode, let's just talk what I want to talk about. We're gonna talk about what I want to talk about. We're not doing this. Let's try to be happy no more. This clearly didn't work. What the hell was that?
Oh, that was a freaking something crashed. So and how it works is because I'm using this program for the voice effects and all that, it basically takes all the sound in the computer and pumps it through the mic, or what would be like the mic input, I guess. So if I were to start playing music on here, it would start flowing in here.
Okay.
Not that I want to do that so I can get freaking copyright strikes and all that trash, and they'll take away my. I don't even know. Can you even do Hangouts if you get a strike?
Yeah.
You got a strike?
No.
How do you know?
I wouldn't know if I got a strike. They message you.
No, I'm saying, how do you know if you can actually do the Hangouts with a strike if you've never had a strike?
Because the Hangouts is not part of your strikes. Hangouts is just Hangouts.
Yeah, but some people, they say that they lose the ability to live stream when they get a strike.
Yeah, you probably can't live stream, but you probably can still do Hangouts. We have to look it up. We have to find smarter people than us.
But technically, we're live. This is what this is. It takes the live broadcast and then records it.
We have to find smarter people than us. We're clearly not smart.
Oh, thank you for insulting me.
I said we.
So you think it's okay to insult me because you're also insulting yourself?
Yes, exactly.
No, totally inappropriate. That's just like that. That's like when people, you have a big person, an obese person, and it's like, yeah, man, like we're fat. It's like, whoa, hold on. It's like, don't disrespect me. It's like, well, I'm talking about myself too. Like, I never understood that.
Well, you're not fat, Joe. You're tall. You're a jolly green giant.
Huh?
You're not fat, Joe. You're tall.
Oh, you can be really obese and be tall. I mean, the fat distribution is probably going to be a little bit more friendly to someone who's like 5 feet. Like you'll be like a ball. If you were my weight and you were 5 feet tall, oh man, you just be ruined for life. Like your skin would just be a mess if you ever decided to lose weight. But yeah, that's kind of random. But I mean, it's true.
God.
Oh man. All right. Well, thanks for everyone for listening to the podcast. Appreciate all of you. If you're listening on YouTube, please, and you enjoyed the podcast, please remember to give a thumbs up and subscribe. So next time episodes come out, you will get to see them as soon as they hit your subscription feed. Also, if you're on iTunes and you want to be generous, just give us a like, or not a like, but a rating and a comment and all that good stuff. And subscribe wherever you're listening on all your podcast apps and everywhere else. So you can also get the podcast as soon as it comes out, whenever it comes out. So thank you for listening. We will talk to you later.
Put shizzle, my little. Oh my God.
I had to find I knew I was going to find a reason to use it. Anyway.